Hello, my name is Stuart, classical record collector and classical record dealer as well. I've been in this game for about 35 years, collecting and dealing. I do listen to the music, by the way. My primary interest is in the actual classical music. And yeah, so I do listen. I spend about 3 or 4 hours a day listening to my vinyl records, usually while I'm working, actually. And then, if I can find time to dedicate my listening. But okay, yeah, so I do listen to the records. I'm not just flipping them. And the reason I'm flipping them is to pay for my hobby. Okay, let me move on. This guy, I'm sure you've seen him. Um, I've been watching him now for a few years, off and on. I think he's really good. I'm absolutely amazed by his record collection. He's got an absolutely phenomenal record collection. He's a real enthusiast. He's a real connoisseur. He knows his stuff. He's not really listening to much classical. He mainly listens to like progressive rock and lots of other stuff from the 70s and 80s that I also like. I know that he likes Pink Floyd and Blondie. I also like Pink Floyd and Blondie, Queen. He doesn't like ABBA, and sort of more mainstream stuff, but he's got an extensive knowledge of music from that era, and it looks to me like he really lives for his records, which is great. He's a real enthusiast. I enjoy listening to him. He's got an absolutely phenomenal system. I mean, it makes my system look like a transistor radio. His system must be worth, well, a hell of a lot of money. I hate to think. So he's got everything. He must have. I don't know what he does for a living, but this guy looks to me like he's got, a massive budget for his records. He's getting new records through all the time. He doesn't waste time on secondhand record. Well, no, that's not quite. He does buy original issues because he likes to test different types of labels against each other. Unfortunately, we never hear him testing these. We never see him testing these labels. He usually talks about them and how one sounded against the other, but we never actually see him testing them, which is a shame, because I try to show you, even though it's coming through on YouTube, it's all digitized, you can still tell some kind of difference. So the reason that he's made this video and it caught my eye is that he's reviewing three Deutsche Grammophon reissues, I suppose collector's issues, which have been recently released of 70s records. 70s Deutsche Grammophon records, and I was curious. I've been curious about whether it's worth buying these. I mean, I know they cost about 25, £30 a piece. Well, the question is whether it's worth it. I've got some thoughts on that. Anyway, let's listen to what he's got to say.
Smetana. Ma Vlast, mein Vaterland, my fatherland.
I love his accent. Okay, I must say about this record, Kubelik, My Vlast, Deutsche Grammophon, when I used to go and look at collections, I never gave this record a second look. Collectors were shunning it. Nobody was interested in it, more or less. So, yeah, okay, so Deutsche Grammophon have brought out a gatefold 2-record set. I guess they're charging about £50 for it or something like that.
Or Ma Patrie, conducted by Raphael Kubelik and the Boston Symphony Orchestra. It comes as a double album, like always when it comes to this series, in a gatefold jacket. They kept the...
Yeah, if my memory serves me correctly, this used to come in a box, not in a gatefold. I do believe it used to come in a box set, not a gatefold.
The wonderful quality with this matte furnish, with this matte surface, and wherever they can, they put in amazingly informative stuff. Here, for example, you have the Aufnahmeprotokoll, the recording protocol. Beautiful. Very interesting. Or on one side you have this certificate where they explain about the original source series, but the other side, the second side, the back side, is way more interesting to me, as you get a copy of the tape. And this is of course amazing information, and you get this with all the releases.
This is all collector's paraphernalia, in my opinion. I think it's good. I've got nothing against it. And I suppose if I had the millions that he's got, I'd also be buying all this stuff and collecting it to my heart's content. Um, it's something above and beyond the music. And I always say that I love vinyl for the quality of the sound, and the format and everything, and the artwork, everything that comes with it is secondary to that. And he would probably say the same, I suppose, but he gets a lot of pleasure out of all the paraphernalia, all the documents they supplied, which, let's face it, if they're charging 25, £50, then it's nice to have that.
Vinyl, again, beautiful, dead, flat, silent. In all cases here with this batch I've gotten. So really on the great side. Really, no complaints at all here. Mavlast, mein Vaterland, my fatherland, is this big classical music, you know, with a huge orchestra, with the punch, the dynamic, the soundstage.
Yeah, I'd just like to say about the music itself. Of course, the part we all know is Vlatava, the Maldo, the absolutely stunning highlight of this whole piece, which is often recorded on its own by various conductors. It's an incredible piece of music, but yeah, I mean, the whole thing is good. Of course it is. It's a piece of music that you've just got to know. Vlatava, I mean, and the whole thing, of course, but it's just essential. I mean, it's like Finlandia. It's like, it's like, or Capriccio Italien by Tchaikovsky. There are certain pieces which you just absolutely have to know, and this, of course, is one of them.
And usually,
now, sorry, I've got this here because I was looking through the records that I've got. I've got the piece here. This actually, oddly enough, this is a gatefold, right? I've got the same performance here. Kubelik, Mavlast, Boston Symphony Orchestra, and it's sorry, let me just see. Yeah, sorry. So it's on the Privilege label, which is a reissue label. It's not the original, but it's a gatefold, and I got it from a charity shop, and I paid 50 pence for it. So, okay, let's just listen to a bit more of what he's got to say.
Most of the classical listeners, at least nowadays, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, if you see that differently, are more into those chamber classic releases where you have 2 to 3 to 4 musicians and have this wonderful experience. When it comes to larger orchestras,
no, that's absolutely untrue what he's saying there. I don't know where he's got that. Most of the vinyl that sells, in my experience, has always been orchestral, not chamber, and not instrumental. It's always been the big works: Beethoven, Brahms, the big symphonies, Mahler. I mean, what he's about to say now. Okay, let's listen to him.
And hi-fi equipment really can get into its knees. You know, it's quite some information. And just imagine the air.
Yeah, okay. So now he's saying that there are too many instruments in an orchestra for a hi-fi system to cope with it. But they cope pretty damn well, and you've got to accept the limitation. But I think with the quality of sound that we've got from modern hi-fi, it does a pretty good damn job. And if you've got the opportunity to listen to Herbert von Karajan, Klemperer, Furtwängler, the whole lot of them, all the greatest conductors of the 20th century, and you've got a reasonable, decent system, you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of listening to symphonic music on record. For sure. You're not going to say, oh, well, it's not doing such a good job with orchestral music, so I'll listen to chamber music. That's not how it works. Quite often, people tend more towards, one or the other. For me, and then there are others like me that like all of it. They like the orchestral, they like the chamber music, the instrumental, the opera, the whole lot. There are probably more like me, actually, than there are anybody else. But what he's saying is absolutely untrue. Yeah, so I don't know where he's got that from. I think he's probably supposing that's the case. He listens mainly to like rock music where there are just a few instrumentalists. So he's not really used to orchestral music. Yeah, so I disagree with him there anyway. I don't know why he's saying that. Okay, well, notwithstanding that, I think it was a good review, but I'm going to discuss things now. Okay, yes, thank you very much for watching so far. Now, as far as I understand, this series released by Deutsche Grammophon uses entirely analog techniques. There's no digital mastering, there's no digital in the production process whatsoever. This is to be obviously very much commended, and um, I hope that obviously I hope that what Deutsche Grammophon are doing will be repeated by other notable companies, Decca and RCA, etc., if indeed they haven't already done so, but sticking to the original, well, or at least only using analog and excluding digital is exactly, I'm really pleased to hear that. I've seen another video that this gentleman has done where he came out and he declared that the remasters, the recent reissues, sound a lot better than mint originals. The only caveat I would have there is that, as he admits, he's not a classical fan. He's not, he listens mainly to rock music and other types of music, so he's possibly not the best judge of that. A lot of people in the comments have said also that the reissues sound better. If they're following him, they're possibly also not classical devotees. But nevertheless, it sounds interesting, and I will probably acquire a record. I believe that I actually bought a DG original Schneiderhan playing Mozart Concertos 2 and 3. I've got that in a German pressing in very, very good condition. It also sounds very good. I believe this is one of the reissues that Deutsche Grammophon are bringing out, and if it is, I might try and get a hold of it, even though it's going to cost me 25 quid. Well, okay, I mean, I could probably sell it on anyway and compare it with mine so that I can do a proper A and B comparison and give my own opinion, because I listen to virtually nothing else but classical and have been doing for the last 35 years. So there are certain things that I would look for. And yeah, okay. I mean, apart from that consideration, even if the sound quality is better, I would hesitate to spend £25 a piece on these, given that you can pick up very, very good condition, or EX condition, or even near mint Deutsche Grammophones. Particularly the ones they've released are mostly not that uncommon. You can pick them up really for relatively little money, £5, £6. Why would you want to pay £4? Sorry, 4 times as much. Okay, even if it's better sound quality, it might not be significantly better. So I think the other point somebody mentioned in one of the comments under the video was that Deutsche Grammophon had not really brought out many interesting reissues from their back catalogue. And I kind of agree with that. They look a bit, I mean, the Smetana one and, some the Claudia Bardo Rite of Spring was a good one to bring out, because that really is a great performance. But some of the others that they've reissued, I would have thought that they could have found better material from their vast catalogue to actually reissue. And maybe I suppose they will do in due course. Okay, so that's about it. Yeah, so for me, the jury's out. I need to get a hold of one of these and review it myself, and I will do that. So watch this space and let me know what your opinion is. Oh, by the way, just one thing. You know that I'm a big fan of Decca, Columbia SAX, RCA SBs. I think those records, and the ASD white and golds, of course, I think they're in a different league from the Deutsche Grammophones. I found some really weird views concerning Deutsche Grammophon. Some people saying, oh, the 1960s Deutsche Grammophones were as good as the Decca SXL 2000s. And, well, everybody's entitled to their opinion. All I can say is that the 60s DGs are not sought after by collectors. They're prepared to pay very little money for them, whereas they're prepared to pay big money for the Deckers, the SAXs, and the ASDs, and that's for good reason. I think that they do actually. I think they sound significantly better than the 1960s or any DGs, frankly. Okay, that's my opinion. I'll be interested to know yours. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.